So to get started, we're going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot, grab our 5mm hook, and we're going to make a chain that is the height of the shorts that you want. You can make these high-waisted or low-rise, minus 3 inches because we will have a border, and just as a reference, I'm going to make a chain of 8.5 inches. Once we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain that we did, chain up 1 extra, then we're going to insert our hook into that second loop from the hook or that chain that we blocked off with a single crochet. And from here, we're going to put 1 single crochet into every loop that we have going all the way down. Once we have our first row of single crochet, now we're going to start working on the ridging effect that we're going to have on these shorts. So we're going to chain up 1, flip our work, and we're going to be doing slip stitches into the back loops only. So just to show you guys, instead of going in through both loops, like how we typically do, we're going to be going into only the back loop. And we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook, and that is a slip stitch. We're going to do this one more time. So go ahead and insert your hook into the back loop only, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then from here, if we keep doing this to get the length that we want, this is going to be what we end up having. And it doesn't look like much now, but if you stretch it, then you get that really nice ridging effect that looks like knit, which is great because I don't know how to knit. But we're going to keep doing this until you get to the side of your hips plus 1 inch. So for me, when I made this guy, from one end to the next, I have 13 inches. So keep slip stitching all the way down, making sure you're in the back loops only, chain up 1, and keep doing the same until you get the majority of your shorts. So this is what we have once we have our length, minus 13 inches when it's not stretched out. And now we're going to be working on the back half, and this is going to be for people that have a little junk in the trunk. So how we're going to do it is that we're going to be doing increases just for 1 row, and I'm going to be doing an increase into every 5th loop that we have, but if you need more or less, you can go ahead and adjust as needed. But how we do that is we're going to chain up 1, flip our work like we've been doing, then we're going to insert our hook into the first loop that we have, making sure we're going into the back loops only. We're going to yarn over, pull through both, and we're going to keep doing our slip stitches into the next 4 loops. And once we have 4 slip stitches done into the 5th loop, I'm going to be doing my increase. So we're going to do 1 slip stitch and then another slip stitch, and that is our increase. And from here, we're going to go back to doing 1 slip stitch into the next 4 loops and then increasing in the 5th. And then I'm just going to be increasing into 1 row, but you can keep going if you need. And as you can see, this is my row of increases, and we have these little bulbs, but it'll all even out once we do our next row and all of our rows after that. But from here, I'm not going to be doing any more increases. I'm just going to be putting 1 slip stitch into each of these back loops, just like how we've been doing. And then continue doing slip stitches into the back loops only. And then we're going to keep doing this until we get maybe 1 inch from the other side where we want to connect it. So over here, because we are going to have to decrease as well. So this is what we have once we have our increase, and we have the length that we want. And my piece in total from one end all the way down to this end is 23 inches. And like I said, I have just 1 inch left that I want to do, and this is all without it being stretched. Remember that it does stretch, but now we're going to do our decrease. So from here, we're going to chain up 1, flip our work, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did for the increases, but for decreases. So we're going to put 4 slip stitches into the next 4 loops. And then once we get to the 5th loop, we're going to do a decrease, making sure we're going into the back loops only. So we're going to insert our hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull through into the next loop, back loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And that is our decrease. Let's show you guys how to do it one more time. So we're going to slip stitch into the next 4 loops. And then once we have this, we're going to insert our hook in through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through the next loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then I'm going to keep doing this all the way down since I just did an increase in 1 row. But if you did an increase in more rows, or if you did an increase in every 5th, if you did every 3rd, every 10th, whichever, just make sure that it's the same, but in decreases. And as you guys can kind of see, these are my decreases, and then just to double check, you're going to want to make sure to count out all the loops, making sure that you have the same amount of loops that you have for your first chain that you did, because you are going to need to connect it to this guy in a little bit. But once we have this, all we're going to do is chain up one, flippity flip our work, and then put one slip stitch in every loop going all the way down, get to the end, chain one, flip your work, do the whole spiel until you get the size that you need once when it's stretched. So this in total is what we should have. This is my decrease side and then the few rows that I did right next to it. And from one end to the next, I have 24.5 inches not stretched out. I went ahead and compared this to my body and it fits perfectly. So now I'm gonna single crochet everything together. So it doesn't matter which way you flip it, you're just going to make sure that you flip. And then since our hook is still attached to the working yarn, we're just going to insert our hook into the first row of single crochets that we did. And from here, we're just going to yarn over, pull through both loops. And then from here, we're just going to put a single crochet, making sure that we go in through both loops, going all the way down. So just as an example, we're going to insert our hook into one side, insert our hook into the same loop, but on the other side. And from here, we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, and then that is our single crochet. And then we're going to keep doing that all the way down, and don't cut and tie because we are going to do the top border. So once we've connected the whole thing, now we're going to start working on the top border. So what we're going to do is chain up one, and then from here we're going to do a row of single crochet going all the way around, and there's not really going to be any loops, so we're just going to have to kind of figure it out. But make sure that you don't put too many single crochets into one section, otherwise it'll bunch up and look kind of funky, and that's not cute. So we're just going to put in single crochets. Once we get to the end, we're going to connect with a slip stitch, and I'll meet you back once we get there. So we have our first row of single crochet, and now we're going to start working on the border like I said. So we're going to do a row of double crochet. So from here, we're going to chain up three. It doesn't matter what direction you go in. Go ahead and just go. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, and we're going to be putting one double crochet into every loop that we have. And once we get to the end, connect with a slip stitch into the original chain three that we just did. So we have made it all the way around with our double crochets and connected with a slip stitch, and now we're going to start working on the bridging effect, I guess what we're going to call it, but we're basically just going to be doing 2 rows of front and back post double crochets. So how we do that is from here we're going to chain up 3, prepare for a double crochet, and then in the next double crochet that we have in the last row, we're actually going to be going in through, I guess this is the front, but in the back of this double crochet, and then we're going to be double crocheting just like normal instead of going in through the loops on the top that we typically go into. But if we do it this way, then we get a really nice bridging effect that'll help our drawstring do its thing. And then so this is considered a front post double crochet, and we're about to do a back post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over just like how we're doing a double crochet regularly, but instead we're going to do the same thing that we did here but on the opposite side. So on the inside, we're going to bring our hook in through the next loop and then push it back and then double crochet. And as you can see, this is our front post, this is our back post. Let's do this one more time for each. Prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook behind this double crochet just like this, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So now we have a front, back, front, and we're about to do another back. So prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook in front of that post, yarn over, pull through, and then double crochet like normal. So now we have front, back, and we're going to keep doing this for this row all the way around. We're going to do the same thing for the next row, but I'm going to show you guys how to do that just as a quick refresher. Once we've done our front and back post double crochets all the way down, we still need to connect it. We're going to connect it the same way that we've been doing. So we're going to count up 3 loops and then slip stitch it into that loop. And then from here, we're going to chain up another 3. And then we're going to do one more row of front and back post double crochets, but I just wanted to show you guys how to do it since we're going into another row of front and back post double crochets, but we're basically just going to keep it all the same. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, and since into this first one we did a front post double crochet, we're going to insert our hook in through the front. It's the back, but it's the front. And then we're going to keep it all the same. So as you can see, it all lines up. And the next one, prepare for a double crochet and then go in through the back just like this. And then once we get done with this, we're going to connect it with a slip stitch, chain up one, and cut. So this is our waist border. Once we are done with that, as you can see, this is our inseam. And then now we're going to start working on the bottom. And the first thing that we're going to do is just do a regular row of single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook into any one of these loops. It doesn't really matter which one. Grab our yarn, make a slip knot, insert our hook, and from here it's going to be the same kind of single crochets that we did up top, which is no real holes. Go ahead and just figure it out, but don't put too many in one section, otherwise it'll bulk up. And then once we have our single crochets all the way around, we're going to connect with a slip stitch into the first single crochet, and we're just going to do that, chain up one and cut. And then now we're going to start working on the middle connecting portion. And we're just going to need to measure that out, figure out where all that's going to be. So by editing magic, all of that will be measured out. So now that we have our markers in, or I have also recently learned they're called spacers, but if we did everything correctly, it should all kind of even out. So just to show you guys how I did it is that, remember that seam that we did? I went ahead and left that on the side, because if we did it correctly, then our increase portion, like that little chunk where it's longer than the front, it should be laid in the back, and then it should lay perfectly flat this way. I made it this way so it's a little bit easier to try and manage, but with all that being said, I went ahead and figured out where the middle was, and I didn't count, I just kind of eyeballed it, but I went ahead and figured out where that was, and then I measured out where the middle portion was, where I eyeballed it, and I went ahead and measured out so that I had a total of a little bit over 2 inches, and then I did that for the back as well. And then just to make sure that everything was even, I went ahead and counted all the loops and measured along the outside where our legs are going to be, just to make sure that they're all the same. And then just as a reminder, I know I already said it, but I know that it can be a little confusing because it definitely confused me when I first did it. But as you can see, this is the front, and then the back is going to extend out a little bit more because we did those increases. Make sure that the back markers or spacers, make sure that those are in the middle of that, because you don't want this a little bit off alignment, because then one side will be longer than the other instead of it being even in the back, and that's not cute. And that's all we're trying to do, guys. We're just trying to look cute. But anyways, we're going to flip this back this way so that our seam is facing out. We're not going to flip it out just yet. But from here, this is where you're going to want to try it on, and then go ahead and measure from the front to the back, and then see how many inches that you need, and then we're going to make a chain that's that long. And I went ahead and measured mine out, and mine is 6.5 inches. So I'm just going to insert my hook into where one of the markers is, and then we're going to grab our yarn, make a slip knot, insert that onto our hook, and then I'm going to make a chain that is 6.5 inches, but that's just what I need. Y'all go ahead and make a chain of however long you need, and then we're going to connect it to this other marker over here. And then once we have it slip stitched, we're going to go into the next loop that we have that's going towards the other marker that we have with another slip stitch. And from here, our first row is going to be a row of single crochet. So go ahead and put one single crochet into every loop into this chain that we have. And then we're going to connect it back to the side with another slip stitch, but I'll show you how to do that once we get there. So we did our row of single crochets all the way down, and then we are going to connect it with a slip stitch like I said. So we aren't going to go into the slip stitch that we're currently in. We're going to go into the next loop with a slip stitch. And then for the rest of this connecting part, instead of doing the slip stitches in the back loops only that we've been doing, we're going to keep it kind of the same, but not keep it with slip stitches. We're going to be doing single crochets in the back loops only, but only because if we do the slip stitches, the middle part will kind of shrink up a little bit. As you can see, this part does, and I don't really want that. I'm going to be doing the single crochet like I said, but if you don't mind, you want to keep everything looking uniform, you go on ahead and then you let me know how that works out for you. But from here, we're going to do another slip stitch, flip our work, and then we're going to be doing single crochet into the back loops only like I said. So instead of going in through both loops like we normally do, we're just going to be going into the back loop with a single crochet. Then we're going to go all the way down, connect it with a slip stitch into the body portion of the shorts, slip stitch up one, and then go back with more single crochet in the back loops only, and then keep doing that until we get to these markers. So this is what we have so far once we have the connector done. Next, we're going to start working on the detail around the leg holes, but the first thing that we have to do is 2 rows of single crochet. So what we're going to do is chain up 1, and then we're just going to be putting 1 single crochet into every loop that we have, going all the way around. Once we get around, we're going to connect with the slip stitch, chain up 1, and then do 1 more. And once we have our 2 single crochet rows done, we're going to do more front and back post double crochets. But the first row that we need to do right here is just a regular schmegular row of double crochets. So go ahead and chain up 3. That counts as a double crochet. Go ahead and put 1 double crochet into every loop that we have until we go all the way around. Connect with a slip stitch into that chain 3 that we just made. Now that we've gone all the way around with our double crochet, now we're going to do our front and back post double crochets just like how we did along the top waist border. So from here, we're going to chain up 3. This counts as a double crochet. Prepare for a double crochet. Go ahead and insert your hook Go ahead and insert your hook behind the first double crochet that we have, and then double crochet. This is a front post double crochet. We're going to do this one more time. Go ahead and insert your hook behind and do that. And then we're going to do this for 2 more rows, so a total of 3 if we're including our first row of double crochet. So it's going to be exactly the same as our waist. And we're going to do this, connect with a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut and tie, and then do the same thing that we did here on the other side. So 2 rows of single crochet, 1 row of double crochet, and then 2 rows of front and back post double crochet. And then we're going to cut and tie. So this is what we have when we have both parts of the bottom done. And the last thing that we have to do other than weaving in our ends is go ahead and make a chain for the drawstring. And I just made a chain that can go all the way around plus some, so mine's about 45 inches. And then once we have our chain, we're going to grab our tapestry needle, or you guys can use your hook, whatever you guys have really. I'm just going to insert that on, and now we're going to attach it onto our waistband. And from here, I'm just going to eyeball it, see where the middle is. I think that this is the middle. And then we did 3 rows of these double crochets, and obviously these are the front and back post double crochets. And then we're just going to be going into that middle row that we have, and we're just going to be going behind the, the front post double crochets. So this is going to be a little bit easier than the ways that we normally do it, instead of weaving it in and out of every 3rd or 5th, however we do it, of just regular double crochets. Your hook or your needle is just gonna glide on through right behind our front post double crochets, and we're gonna keep doing that all the way around. Then once we've made our drawstring go all the way around, this is what things are looking like, and the last thing that we have to do is weave in our ends. Once we've woven in all the ends, these are our shorts. Y'all have no idea how long I've been waiting to make these shorts. There's a lot of trial and error, but it all worked out. And if I do say so myself, they look pretty cool. But I also wanted to say thank you so much for all the requests for shorts that inspired me to get these done. If y'all like this piece or any other piece on the channel, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It's right beneath the video. It lets YouTube, and I know y'all are enjoying the videos, and it goes a long way to helping out the channel. And if you guys didn't like it, go ahead and leave a thumbs down, but let me know why you didn't like it. Or you can leave a comment saying what's up, if you have any questions, or if you want to leave a request. I usually reply pretty quick. If you love it, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's right beneath the video. It'll let you know when a new video is uploaded to the channel, get you a bit more priority for requests, and it goes a long way with helping the channel grow so I can keep making great videos for you guys. Links to the yarn and hooks that were used will be in the description, and also my Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest will also be in the description. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see y'all in the next one.